And now there's some breaking news that's coming in. Rahul Gandhi has targeted the centre at Cambridge. He has said that the Indian democracy is under pressure. It is under attack. We are facing an attack on the basic structure of Indian democracy. Now this is the latest that we are getting to you from Cambridge. Remember, Rahul Gandhi, who was in Cambridge, had delivered a lecture there. And these are the details that we are getting to you from the Cambridge address of Rahul Gandhi, where he has said that the Indian democracy is under pressure. Remember, on the social media as well, there were several comments that we had seen after the photos of Rahul Gandhi giving an address at Cambridge had emerged. Even Sam Pitroda had put out some photos. We had seen a lot of comments as well as attacks on Rahul Gandhi with respect to the comments that he had made. And now we are getting the details of the address that he had given at Cambridge, where he was a few days ago. Now, in his address at Cambridge, he has targeted the centre yet again, and he has said that the Indian democracy is under pressure. He has also said that the Indian democracy is under attack and that the basic structure of the Indian democracy was under threat. Now, let's listen into what Rahul Gandhi had to say. Well, these comments have been made by Rahul Gandhi during his address at Cambridge, where he was talking on Indian democracy. Before we listen into what he had to say, now these are the visuals we are getting for you of the address that Rahul Gandhi had at Cambridge. Now remember, during his address, he had said that the Indian democracy is under pressure.
And that's where a whole bunch of opposition.
To give us more details on this, I am being joined by my colleague and senior editor Pallavi Ghosh on the broadcast. So Pallavi, at Cambridge, when Rahul Gandhi makes these statements, we are seeing on Twitter as well that these comments aren't being taken very kindly.
You know, the point is that yesterday the G20 summit was going on, and there has always been this criticism of Rahul Gandhi that why does he have to run down the country, present India as being a fascist country whenever he's abroad, because this is something which is going to embolden our opponents across the border, whether it's Pakistan, whether it's China. And of course, that criticism is going to be mounting because the question will be raised over one. And you know, there are going to be a couple of attacks which are going to come in from the BJP and the political opponents of Rahul Gandhi. That one, this is when the G20 summit was going on and he was bashing India. Two, when you have world leaders, for example, praising the Prime Minister, here is Rahul Gandhi, who is a leader of the opposition in the sense of the Congress party, again bashing the Prime Minister and the country. And third is, of course, the criticism is that when you are not politically very successful, yesterday we know the results of Northeast also came in. This is going to be yet another criticism on Rahul Gandhi.
Pallavi, if I may request you to hold on to your thoughts, let's listen to what Rahul Gandhi had to say.
Large number of politicians have Pegasus on my phone, on their phone. I've been called by intelligence officers who tell me, listen, please be careful what you're saying on the phone because we are sort of recording this stuff. So this is a constant pressure that we feel. Cases on opposition. I've got number of criminal libel cases for things that, you know, should under no circumstances be criminal libel cases, but that's the story, right? And that's what we are trying to defend. What we found as the opposition was that it's very difficult to communicate with people when you have this type of an assault on the media, on the democratic architecture.
Well, to talk about it and to give a reaction, we have been joined by Shehzad Poonawalla of the BJP. Good morning, Shehzad. Thank you for speaking to CNN News 18. Now, Rahul Gandhi saying that democracy is under threat, talking about the art of listening. How do you look at these comments?
For some people, when Parivar Tantra is under threat, they feel Loktantra is under threat. By the way, just yesterday, the court has delivered a verdict which they have welcomed, and the same Supreme Court, when it delivered a verdict on Pegasus, they continue to peddle lies about it. Just yesterday, the people of Nagaland, Meghalaya and Tripura have delivered a verdict, and in an area where there is minority population, Christian population, and where there are tribals, the Bharat Jodo Yatra has had no effect, and the Congress has failed to show any kind of color in these areas. And today they say minorities are under attack. The same Rahul Gandhi who says that there's criminal defamation case against me, but if you say things and you don't substantiate it with proof, and the courts issue summons to you, then you say that you're being hounded. So, this kind of attitude to go and besmirch India's reputation on foreign soil has become a routine affair for Rahul Gandhi. And every time Parivar Tantra is under threat, because the people are rejecting you, you think Lok Tantra is under threat.
Well, Shehzad, he has also raised some issues saying that, he is under threat, that there is surveillance on him and that there are politicians who have Pegasus installed on their phone. How does it speak of the Indian polity really?
The Supreme Court has denied this categorically. The Supreme Court heard this. Some people made allegations. The Supreme Court said there is no substance in your allegations. The Supreme Court is, unless Mr. Rahul Gandhi does not believe the Supreme Court. And secondly, if he had this particular, whatever Pegasus on his phone, did he submit his phone to the courts? Did he submit his phone to any agency or to the police and say, look, I'm giving my phone, do a forensic or whatever test you need to and find out who's snooping on me? He didn't give his own phone. The others who went to court, their case was rejected. And no Pegasus was found in any of those phones. The courts completely denied all of these allegations. And now you regurgitate facts that you've argued before a court just to make a political point and to besmirch India's reputation on foreign soil. So this shows that Rahul Gandhi is fast becoming irrelevant, and because he's becoming irrelevant, he makes more and more of such kinds of statements to garner attention. I think it's best to ignore the ramblings and rantings of a politically irrelevant entity like Rahul Gandhi.
Well, Shehzad, not only has he levelled allegations against the centre in some sense, but he has also talked about Bharat Jodo Yatra. How do you see this elaborate discussion on one hand of his allegation that the democracy is under threat, on the other hand, he talking elaborately about his own experiment, Bharat Jodo Yatra?
We've seen what results the experiment delivered yesterday. Yesterday were the 3 elections, which were the first elections held after the Bharat Jodo Yatra. What happened? In the last 10 years, Congress has disappeared from Tripura, the Congress has disappeared from Meghalaya, the Congress has gone to 0 in Nagaland. And this is after the Bharat Jodo Yatra, in an area where there is 60, 70, 80% Christian and tribal population. So I think that it is not Bharat Jodo Yatra. Rahul Gandhi should embark on a Janta ko pehle apne se Jodo Yatra and Congress ko thoda sa Jodo Yatra. I think that would be better for the young dynast. And the young dynast should also know that either you trust and believe the institutions in your country, including the Supreme Court, which you were hailing yesterday, or you say that whenever the verdict is in my favor, I hail it. And when it's not in my favor, I go to international soil and I start besmirching the country.
Well, Shehzad, this isn't the first time that Rahul Gandhi has come under attack for such comments on foreign soil. There have been previous attacks on him as well whenever he has gone out and spoken about this. How do you look at such comments when they are made outside the country?
I'm not attacking Rahul Gandhi. For me, Rahul Gandhi is far too irrelevant to be even attacked or spend my breath upon. But having said that, he is a member of parliament. It is one of his obligations that India's reputation and India's image should not be tarnished on foreign soil just because he wants a political gain. जिसको हिंदी में बोलते कि एक व्यक्ति का विरोध करते करते, एक पार्टी का विरोध करते करते देश का विरोध ना करो. जाके सेना के बारे में गालियां देना, देश के बारे में गालियां देना, देश के संस्थानों को गाली देना. This does not behove of somebody who's been elected as a member of parliament. And therefore, when Rahul Gandhi uses live propaganda and tries to besmirch India's image because he has a problem with what Indians do in terms of their voting pattern, it just shows how immature, and it only shows how selfish and conceited Rahul Gandhi is that if his family is in power, democracy is great. And if his family is not in power, democracy is dead. These are the people who imposed emergency and banned Kishore Kumar from singing songs. These are the people who banned 100 films and books. When they start lecturing on democracy, it is like the Satan preaching scriptures.
Well, Shehzad, we also have Pramod Tiwari from the Congress who's joining us. Pramod Tiwari जी, CNN News 18 से बात करने के लिए बहुत-बहुत शुक्रिया। काफ़ी सवाल उठाए जा रहे हैं। कांग्रेस लीडर जो आपके हैं राहुल गांधी, जिन्होंने कैम्ब्रिज में जाके ये स्टेटमेंट्स दिए हैं, शहजाद कह रहे हैं कि दिस इज besmirching द कंट्री ऑन फॉरेन लैंड। क्या कहना है आपको?
बीजेपी ये गौरवशाली क्षण है कि एक भारतवासी कैम्ब्रिज में बुलाया जाता है, वहां वो व्याख्यान देता है, वो इसे क्या समझेंगे? जिन्हें कई नेता ऐसे हैं, मैं किसी का नाम नहीं ले रहा हूँ, जिनकी डिग्री संदिग्ध है, जिनकी डिग्री ही ठीक नहीं है। मैं बार बार कह रहा हूँ, मैं किसी खास नेता का जिक्र नहीं कर रहा हूँ। फिर आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी हमारे जापान में गए, वहाँ भारतवासियों को संबोधित करके क्या बोले। यूरोप जाते हैं, वो भारतवासियों को संबोधित करते हुए भ्रष्टाचार के मामले में क्या बोलते हैं। अमेरिका जाते हैं तो क्या बोलते हैं। बेहतर है कि ये उन सारे स्पीचेस को पढ़ लें आलोचना करने के पहले। राहुल गांधी ने वही कहा जो मीडिया में है, यहाँ जो चलता है। बातचीत में अगर सवाल उनसे पूछे जाएंगे तो जवाब तो देंगे ना, वो वहां जाके झूठ तो नहीं बोल सकते। ये जरूर कहा जाए कि जो बात उन्होंने कही उसमें गलत क्या है। तो मैं तो आई फील प्राउड दैट राहुल जी इज इनवाइटेड देयर एंड ही जस्ट स्पोकन। थैंक यू।
तिवारी जी, सवाल ये उठ रहा है कि आप एक एमपी हैं, आप एक जिम्मेदार नेता हैं। प्रमोद तिवारी जी, क्या आप अभी भी हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं? Shehzad, taking to you the issue that was raised by Pramod Tiwari, he says that when questions are asked, he cannot stay mum and he cannot lie either. He has to answer questions, and this is in public domain. How do you respond to that?
First of all, Pramod Tiwari displayed how much democratic spirit he has, that he did not even take a counter question from you and ran away. But having said that, if Pramod is still listening, he would probably realize that the Supreme Court ruled categorically on Pegasus. Yet his immature leader goes to foreign soil and rakes up the issue and lies about the fact that there was this particular Pegasus on his phone. I just had two questions to ask in absentia of Mr. Pramod Tiwari. A, if your leader had that virus on his phone or that software on his phone, why didn't he go to a court or in a criminal complaint to a court, including the Supreme Court, and prove this claim and get action done by the courts against it? Secondly, does the Supreme Court lie? Does the Supreme Court take sides? Because the Supreme Court came out and gave a verdict on Pegasus. So I wish, in the spirit of democracy on which we are being lectured by Rahul Gandhi and his family, Pramod Tiwari will take the phone, pick up the phone, answer a few questions you want to ask him in counter, and answer these two questions as well.
Well, the counter also seems to be, Shehzad, that when Prime Minister Narendra Modi goes for several foreign tours, he also raises issues with respect to the country, and we have heard Pramod Tiwari raise questions on it, saying how proper is that. So does it seem, what does this kind of a counter question to you seem?
Look, the Prime Minister's comments and remarks have never been targeting any single person. It's another thing that if Prime Minister talks about what used to happen and the Congress wants to attach itself to that and claims that they were the ones responsible for that corruption, then the Congress should answer that. Why do they feel that when we speak about a legacy of corruption, they feel so close to it? But having said that, those were issues of fact. Wasn't there corruption cases before? Wasn't there corruption taking place every second week in this country? But today, is there a fact that Pegasus has been found on Rahul Gandhi's phone? Is it a fact that minorities are being victimized as has been claimed by Rahul Gandhi? Is it a fact that institutions have been compromised as claimed by Rahul Gandhi? Just yesterday, they were hailing the Supreme Court. So when you use propaganda and you use fiction and peddle it on foreign soil just in order to win a few political brownie points, well, then you are putting the country's reputation at risk and stake, and that you're doing only because you have hatred for one person. And therefore, Mr. Pramod Tiwari should advise his not so young leader that he must focus on Congress Jodo, because after Bharat Jodo, they've lost 3 elections. Yet they continue to peddle the same narrative. There is no reimagination. It's only repackaging of the product. Reimagination has not happened, and therefore Pramod Tiwari and Rahul Gandhi need to reimagine their daily diatribes so that the people of the country will also feel that there's something new that is coming out from them.
Well, Shehzad, thank you so much. Appreciate your time that you've given to CNN News 18. And now moving on this